Hobby Quick Hits. Delivering that breaking hobby news directly to your earlobes. You want to know those hot drops from the card shop? We've got you covered. With your host, John Newman.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Hobby Quick Hits. And on today's episode, we're going back to the well again to weigh in on SGC. And I don't always like to go back to a topic as quick as I am on this one, but in this case, I think it's warranted. Some new stuff. For those that don't know, I'm a bulk subber. Kind of want to weigh in what I'm seeing on that level. I just had Ryan Zazinski of GemRate on Sports Card Nation, and he weighed in with some of his insights and opinions. So with all that being said, I wanted to kind of delve in on this again on this episode, if you will, revisit the topic of SGC. So that is what is on tap for today. We're going to take a quick break. But we'll be right back with the release schedules, some of the hobby news, and then we'll tackle what's going on with SGC.
Okay, now a quick word from our great sponsor, followed by the new product release schedule. Then we'll go around the hobbyverse to tell you all the latest hobby happenings and news. Then we'll tackle today's topic of discussion.
Hi, this is Pat Hughes, Cubs announcer, coming to you from the Sports Card Shop in beautiful New Buffalo, Michigan. The Gocher family has built an incredible place here for collectors to buy, sell, and trade cards and memorabilia. Be sure to stop by and let them show you around. TheSportsCardShop.com, connecting sports, athletes, the hobby, and collectors around the world.
Hi. This is Alan Pinkett, and I'm here to tell you the Gocher family has done it again. They've just opened up the Sport Card Shop in downtown Valparaiso, Indiana, and it is awesome. If you're a collector, you need to check this place out. Tell them Alan sent you and get a free gift on your first visit.
All right, guys, you got me for the new product release calendar for the next couple weeks. Let's start with November 5th, 2025. Leaf Vivid Hobby Baseball, regulars and jumbos. Saying on the same day, 2025 Onyx Vintage Extended Series Baseball Megas. 2025 Panini Certified Football. 2025 Panini PFL Combat Anthology. Also on the 5th, 2024, Pulse, Lumen, Baseball, Heat Seekers Edition. Also on the 5th, big day on the 5th here, 2025/26, Upper Deck Series 1, Hockey, Blasters, and Tins. Let's go to the 6th, 2025/26, Topps, Basketball, Megas. Also, let's go to the 7th, 2025 Onyx Vintage Extended Series Baseball. November 7th, Pokemon Mega Lucario EX Figure. All the 7th, unless I say otherwise. 2025 Bowman Chrome University Football Megas. 2025 Panini Mosaic Football. 2024/25 Panini Noir Soccer. 2025 Topps UFC Finest. And we go to the 11th, 2025 Pulse Meridian Football Heat Seeker Edition. On the November 12th, 2025 Panini Absolute Football Kaboom Countdown Calendar. 2025 Panini Phoenix Football. Staying on the 12th, 2025 Topps Pro Debut Baseball. 2025 Topps Update Series Baseball Hobby and Jumbos. Also on the 12th, finishing out that day, Skybox Metal Universe Batman from Upper Deck. Let's go to the 13th, 2025 Pulse All-Star Baseball. Moving to the 14th, Pokemon Mega Charizard X EX Ultra Premium Collection. Also, Pokemon Mega Evolution Phantasmal Flames. All different variations there. Also, Pokemon 2025 Trainer's Toolkit Mega Battle Deck Mega Gengar Deontay EX. Don't ask me what those mean. I am just reading off a release sheet. With that being said, that's your next 2 weeks in hobby products. As I always say, choose your weapon. Happy ripping.
Let's go round the hobbyverse and catch up on this week's hobby news.
And find out. All right, I want to start out with an item that's going to collect auctions. It's actually started. It will end on November 6th. I'm surprised this item is not getting more buzz than it actually is. It's a 1951 Bowman uncut sheet, 4 rolls of 9 players each, so 36 cards total. There are 72 cards that make up the high number series. This is half of them at 36. And one of the cards on there is a card you might have heard before, 1951 Bowman Mickey Mantle, the rookie card. It's on the edge panel, but surprisingly in very good shape, good color. The backs are clean, got a small hairline crease in it. And just an iconic card on uncut form. Again, the bidding started at 10K. It's obviously going to go more than that. It will end on November 6th. And just to me, an incredible piece. And it's the only one, I believe it's the only one in existence, if I'm not mistaken. So really cool there to check that out.
Holy cow, I don't believe it.
All right, Topps is back in the basketball game officially with the licensing going over to them, and they wasted no time creating the NBA Living Set. We're all familiar with the baseball edition. It now exists in basketball, 1 card a week, print to order. It's got the design of the 1957-58 Topps original design, and card number 1, LeBron James. Not my favorite player, but is what it is, and we can't really be surprised that they're doing this. They're going to cash in on this license all they can. Speaking of cool items hitting the auction block, this auction will open 11/21, November 21st, and close between December 12th and December 14th. What is it? It's a ticket stub graded PSA 1.5 from the Yankees game on July 4th, 1939. What's the significance of that game? The luckiest man in the world speech given by Lou Gehrig when he was diagnosed with ALS. Only 9 of these exist, and only 4 are graded higher. So when it comes to ticket stubs, this is a pretty cool item, if you ask me. Whatnot, getting paid. They just announced they have a new $225 million fund that was invested in them from various brokerages, and since 2019, this marks the $968 million that they have had invested in their company. We hear a lot about these fund sources and brokerage places investing in some of these hobby juggernauts, if you will. I just wonder, are they getting, bang for their buck, or can there be some losses here, which may prevent future funding or even seeing some of these entities going out of business potentially when money dries up. Don't know. Just throwing on my speculation hat there. Panini, whose longtime CEO, Aldo Salustro, passed away a few months back. An Italian newspaper is reporting that they probably will be on the market and that Topps/Fanatics will be one of the first in line to try to make that purchase. The sale, not necessarily the Topps, but Panini is expected to be sold and finalized by mid 2026, according to this Italian newspaper. So, if Topps/Fanatics was to acquire Panini, again, just more of a stranglehold of the hobby that they would have. That's my thoughts there. All right. We don't often hear, card manufacturers, presidents, or CEOs sort of weigh in on the state of the hobby, at least candidly. It's usually always, roses and daisies when they talk about the hobby. But this time, not so much, which I found a little refreshing. What am I talking about? Upper Deck president Jason Mashara on his LinkedIn page put a little bit of a dissertation of the hobby, a statement out on kind of the state of the union of the hobby. I'm paraphrasing some of his points. You can seek out his actual statement, but he pointed out that 50% of the transactions of the hobby come from only 10% of the hobby, meaning it's controlled by the bigger whales. I don't think that's breaking news, but he really is concerned that, if that money goes elsewhere, it could affect the hobby in a negative sort of way, and that it's sort of the power brokers kind of setting the tone. Again, nothing I don't think we didn't really know, but he's concerned about it. He's also concerned about the gambling aspect and gambling effect of the hobby, and what that could mean long term. And on the younger set, he pointed also to the point of wax. That's most products now seem to be, according to him, 4 figures or more, and people being priced out, not just in wax, but just in general. And so, he cares about the hobby. He's concerned about it. It's refreshing to see a person of his stature sort of talk about the stuff that's not all that smells pretty and shiny, right? And good. So I applaud him for that. I know he's taken some criticism because some people have pointed out that, Upper Deck has some very expensive products that price people out. So he's getting kind of labeled sort of a hypocrite, but I don't think, I don't see it exactly like that. I mean, we're all entitled to our opinion, right? And there are some great, more affordable Upper Deck products, well, plenty of them. So, I get it. Someone else commented that he's just bitter because Upper Deck lost the other sport licensing, and he's just, sour grapes. I can't speak for Jason. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it isn't. Maybe that's his true feelings. So I'll just end on this. It was just nice to see, someone really kind of weigh in, someone from that position, right? Kind of just weigh in. Again, most of the stuff is not breaking news. Most of the stuff is stuff we realize or should realize, but it's nice to hear it come from that sort of level instead of always just, how awesome the hobby always is, and there's nothing wrong whatsoever. So I'll close on that. In a June episode of this very podcast, Hobby Quick Hits. I weighed in on kind of where SGC was at, what maybe the future may hold, kind of stemming from a lot of people, a lot of content creators and influencers, claiming that the end was near and that they would soon be killed off by collectors. And, at the time didn't see it that way and kind of wanted to sort of counterpoint that. So I did a SGC State of the Union sort of episode. And I don't often go back and sort of rehash stuff, at least this soon, right? That was again in June, and here we are about the beginning of November, and 5 months later. But some things have changed, and wanted to sort of revisit it, update it, if you will. Now, if you're asking me today, do I think SGC is going to be closed by collectors? I'm still going to say no, but I will say this, to be 100% honest and transparent. I don't feel as confident about that as I did in June. I don't expect it still. I'm not predicting it. I wouldn't bet on it, but I feel less confident that it wouldn't happen today than I did in June. And again, I'll rehash. I love the brand. I love the company. They're a sponsor of Sports Card Nation, but that has nothing to do with my feelings about them. I was a user of their product, before they were even a sponsor, and I'm a bulk subber currently. And I, even though they got rid of the bulk subbing rates, I continue to do the bulk subbing, just adjusting my prices. So let's look at it from that angle. So, I expected a decrease in the amount of subs I got with the new pricing structure. Anytime you raise prices, right, you should probably expect lesser volume sold. I'm sure there are exceptions to that rule. And that's been exactly the case. But I will say this, my projections for how much less I would get submitted to me as a SGC bulk subber, I overestimated. Yes, subs are down, but not by any stretch of the imagination what I kind of forecasted. I'm still getting, I just recently got my fourth largest sub, even with the new price, even without the new pricing, but just across the board since I started bulk subbing over 2 years ago. So I'm still getting large submissions. I just posted on my YouTube channel a 320 card SGC bulk sub submission. Now, that's the other thing. Shameless plug. I'm going to start posting my bulk subs that are going to SGC on my YouTube channel, Sports Card Nation Network. So if you want to see what I'm sending to Boca Raton, that will be posted publicly. Before they will be posted as raw cards before I get them back. I am not going to post the graded cards, but I will post the raw one. So check that out on our YouTube channel. So numbers are still pleasantly good. I was honestly, and I think I might have said that on the June episode, I was concerned that the numbers would dwindle to a point that I'd have to stop bulk subbing, not because I wanted to stop, but because the volume wouldn't be there. It would be a decision that I didn't make, but would be made for me. And again, when I called people and emailed people telling them of what happened, the new rates, I got just so many calls, texts, and emails of support, saying, hey, I'm still subbing with you. The convenience is worth a buck or two more, in pricing. I'm not worried about it. Also keep in mind with bulk subbing, whatever the rate is, right? Anyone that subs on their own, right? And this isn't just an SGC thing, but when you sub with a grading company, especially the bigger ones, you need to really expect between a $45 and $60 shipping bill, both ways combined, right? Probably about 25 going to that grading company, and about 35, 40 that you're going to have to pay for shipping, if not more, coming back. Add those together, and you're looking at $50 to $75 just in shipping charges before you even pay for your first graded card. So for many of these folks, it's still cheaper to use my bulk sub service, even with the adjusted pricing. And many of them pointed to that reason. And then, again, I'm handling all the packaging, shipping, insurance, dealing with it, right? Sorting it out, entering it in on the system. They don't have to do any of that. They literally just fill out a sheet of paper, a form, SGC sub form that I created for what I do. They fill that out with what they're subbing, their info, name, address, and phone number, and email, and then hand me the cards, right? And I take care of the rest. Now, I do not ship the cards back to them unless they pay $20, which is signature confirmation insured shipping. They're generally picked up at my house, at a Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, or at the numerous card shows that we have in the area. Most of the time they are picked up at the card shows itself. They're subbed at the card shows. I'd say about 70% of my bulk subs are given to me at the card show and then picked up in graded card form when the grading's completed at a subsequent card show. And there's another 30% that may be dropped off locally, whether that be at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, my house, and that sort of thing. So it's been surprisingly still good. That I wasn't confident that that was going to continue, but here we are. And for the record, we are our next sub will be sub number 39, and they're generally 1 to 2 a month. So using that 39 number, you can tell sort of how long I've sort of been doing it. Recently, Ryan Stasinski of GemRate was on Sports Card Nation as a guest. Actually, the last couple. If you're listening to this on show release date, go check out what he had to say. He does a great job with the GemRate reports and newsletter and emails. But those give you data, right? It doesn't give you sort of his opinion. So I love having him on the podcast to get his opinion about what's going on in the grading world. And he does, he's a pretty laid back sort of guy, but he also gives his honest opinion and honest assessment. I really appreciate that from him. And on those 2 episodes, I asked him, what he thought when he first heard the news that Collectors was acquiring SGC, and whether he thinks, SGC is going to be phased out by Collectors. And again, I don't want to give out the whole episode's info, but check it out. But he doesn't believe that SGC is going to be closed by Collectors. He thinks they're going to do what they've already sort of done and made them a smaller company, right? And kind of, that boutique word that Ryan Hoge used when he said they weren't closing. And so Ryan, when I asked Ryan, do you think that, Ryan from GemRate, do you think that SGC is going away? He says he obviously doesn't know. He doesn't have any insider info. But in his opinion, he doesn't believe that's going to happen. He thinks they're going to be sort of that boutique, whether it be heavy vintage or pre-war, that sort of thing. He thinks they'll remain viable, like what we're seeing sort of going on currently. He believes that was the plan all along, what we're seeing now. He pointed out to, what it cost to purchase this company. Kind of to close it wouldn't make a ton of sense. But he also said, that it wouldn't be the first time something like that happened either. Again, he doesn't have any working knowledge. He's not getting any info from the powers that be. He also pointed out another thing that some of us know, right? That one of the reasons for the acquisition, right, was to acquire some of that manpower. Some of that SGC workforce, including graders, have went over to the PSA side. And that's what happens with acquisitions. And so now PSA has poached some of those probably top of the line SGC graders. And that was probably part of the whole plan to begin with. And not just graders, but office staff and corporate people at the corporate level as well. So that was one of, probably the reasons for the acquisitions. Let's talk about people who point out to, well, PSA is moving into existing SGC locations and setting up shop there. That signifies that the end is near. And they may be right. I don't know. Ryan Stasinski doesn't know. But let's take, there's two sides to every coin. So for all those folks saying, well, that's the sign that they're going to phase SGC out. They're just going to their locations. They're going to phase SGC out, and then they're just going to be 100% PSA locations rather than 50-50, 60-40. But there's, again, the other side of that coin, right? Well, they can just be, cutting down overhead, right? If you have two companies, but you're under one roof paying one rent or one building cost to build, right? You're consolidating costs. That's just sort of smart business practice. So for me, I don't look at it as a red flag that the end is near. I look at it as hey, they're just trying to, save some funds. If we're going to Florida, why don't we just share space with SGC who's already there rather than just, pour a bunch of money into a new building or renting a new large facility. So I don't look at it like that. So, kind of coming down the home stretch here to wrap sort of this episode up, right? And I hope I'm right. I don't know I'm right, but I don't think SGC's going away. And from a selfish point of view, I hope they don't. I love the brand. They're my favorite grading company. And I hope they're, around, long after I'm not. And I hope that's the case. One more thing I want to touch on real quick. I get asked to this question as a bulk suburb. If SGC was to be phased out and didn't exist anymore, hey John, what will my cards in SGC slabs? What would happen to them? Would they go decrease in value and go down in price? And I here's my 2 cents. Any kind of price decrease to me would be very minimal. And here's why, right? Even if SGC was to go away, they built up so much provenance in 20 plus years of providing great grading. Many of the record-setting cards you're seeing on the auction block are in SGC holders. That's provenance, but people know who SGC is, right? This is not a fly-by-night company that lasted 2 years and went away, the HGA. So will there be a little hit if that was to happen? Sure, a little bit, but not to what some are claiming or predicting. And especially on the vintage side, I think that's even less minimal. I have a Jackie Robinson rookie and an SGC holder. If SGC went away, I'm not getting it taken out of that holder, and I don't expect the value to decrease at all if or very much if it did. So again, the card in the holders are still the cards in the holders. And when you have a brand with a reputation that SGC has, I think that any kind of hit would be of the minimal variety. But only time will tell, and so we'll have to wait and see. But I wanted to kind of rehash, kind of punch back in and kind of, revisit this topic. Any questions or thoughts? You want to tell me I'm wrong or nuts? Reach out to me. My door is always open. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon. All right. Thank you for listening to another episode of Hobby Quick Hits. Want to give out our social media, starting with our website, which is www.sportscardnationpodcast.com. Facebook, you can follow us at www.facebook.com/sportscardnationpodcast/ Twitter, we are at sportscardnat1, so it's sportscard NATI1. Instagram at Sports Card Nation Podcast, or you can email the show hobbyquickhits@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.